Welcome to Shorty Supercoach. How are we, guys? Brownlow medal night. So, as per tradition, we'll have a crack at a serious multi. Now, it's been with mixed results over the recent years. More so on the losing side of things. There's always something that bobs up. But I love doing it. I love doing the research. So I'll put together a couple of probably safe locks. I don't want to tell you that they're absolutely banked, but gamble responsibly, of course. And then some ones that you can kind of beef up those odds with a bit of value. But it is fun to watch along with a bit of vested interest. And we'll run you through how I'm looking at it over the next 10 or so minutes. But also thanks for all the comments, very kind comments on my video the other day just about mental health. That was one that I was probably a bit nervous to put out there, to be honest, and was definitely a bit blown away, a bit overwhelmed by how many, not just comments by number, but just how heartfelt they were and that. So thanks heaps to everyone who shared their thoughts and gave a comment. It was really much appreciated. So thanks heaps. But this is a good doco, this Full Swing on Netflix if you're into your golf, or even if you're not, it's just a great sport doco. So the way I've done it is I've sort of tried to go between the Betfair predictor, AFL predictor, ESPN dual predictor, look at the match reports, look at the coaches' votes, and just try and find a bit of a rough guide of my own votes. So you can often really find out when they're best on, or when they probably, some games are clear, and then you'll be like, geez, will they get a vote? Will it be 3? Will it be 1? Some are really difficult. So clearly it's hard to predict. Otherwise we'd be making money every single time. I tend to get my core 8 to 10 bets, like club by club, that I think are basically locks, and then add value around that with a few variations within that, because sometimes there might be a surprise that we do not see coming, and you don't want that to just ruin every single one of your bets. So as you can see, I've got quite a few. I've spread it pretty far and wide, but let's have a look. So first things first, we'll go to the Brownlow teams. Look, there are a few different ones. Like, I think there's some decent value in your to poll 10 to poll 15. There's a couple in there that are decent. You can even, just to poll a vote, there's a few that you can build up, but I've found that it's pretty hard to get the odds to, anything decent. The over and under's not bad. You can actually build those up to pretty double figure odds quite quickly, but clearly it's quite hard. So I've done a couple of these over and unders. Like, I've sort of gone Neil for over his one, and I think there were some head-to-head ones too, which are interesting. Yeah, Brownlow head-to-head. So I think I went Horn Francis. I think I went Flanders. I might have gone Blakey. So I think I went Viney over Drew. So there's a few that are in and around that, but most of my research has been around trying to nail these teams, and they prove elusive, and there's not much value this year. I think it's just because of the way maybe there's a few more clear-cut winners from the club to club, and then there's a couple that are really hard to split. So whether that's just by the year or a little bit in the way that Sportsbet have designed some of their markets and kept some of the favourites, as opposed to having, maybe a market without Dawson as well. So this is just how it is. But so what I'll roll through now is the core bet. I'm really confident in these guys. I think McCluggage definitely gets it done. Nick Martin, just be a bit mindful there. I reckon I'd steer clear. There's been a couple of predictors that have Caldwell right up there, even Durham. So I don't know. I think Martin will take it out, but just be mindful. Sarong and Green, I think, are really good options. Cameron, pretty confident in. I think Holmes will poll all right. Happy to play without the Gold Coast one for now. Anderson, a big favourite. Again, I think he'll poll more than Rowell, but I think Rowell's half a chance to poll quite nicely. Pretty confident on Gawn. I think Petrarch will be in and, around that 10 vote mark, but I think Gawn gets 12 or 13. We'll talk a bit on the Davies Uniacke and Sheezel one in a sec. I'm big on Horn Francis, so he's into 450. Fuck, he was like 550 the other day. Jesus. I better just put my bets on. I am going to go Marshall. You just never know how rucks poll. I'm happy to leave Sydney aside because I think Goulden's going to be right there with him. I just don't think that. I think Heaney will maybe get him by a vote or two, but I don't really think there's much value in going him. And I do think Yo will get it done. I did a little deep dive in my notebook on the round by round, and I've got what did I have Yo winning it? Where are you, West Coast? West Coast, I had Harley Reid probably polling 5, Waterman polling 6, and I had Yo on 10. So I think he definitely gets it done. And I know a few people are like, oh, Treloar might beat Bontempelli. I'm pretty confident with Bont. So there is 10 legs, $3.50. It's not going to give you a stack. So this is where we've got to add in some extra value. Oh, before I forget too, Tuesday night we'll be going live with my quiz night. So I'm producing a few, probably 4 or 5 quizzes. We do this every year. So yeah, if you get around your footy knowledge and enjoy the quiz, feel free to jump on probably around 7:30, 7:45. And yeah, we'll get stuck in some quizzes. So how are we going to add some value to this? Obviously, if you're a bit more confident than me in Martin or Anderson, then go for your life. And maybe you chop and change some of these. Even though they're locks, chop and change a couple. Because you don't want Zorko polling out of nowhere and then all of a sudden all your bets are ruined. So, diversify, as they say. I'm really confident with Curnow. So, in my research, Curnow versus De Koning, I had De Koning 7 votes, Curnow 9. Looks like round 4 and 5 are going to be really important for him to maybe sneak an extra one. But yeah, I had Curnow 2 votes clear. So, you can add that. I think Collingwood's just, if I had to pick anyone, I'd go Josh Dacos, maybe but happy to leave that one aside. Luke Davies-Uniacke, I'm actually relatively confident that he beats Sheasel. Now, he was the first one I did, and I had Sheasel polling 8 or 9 votes. A lot of 1 voters for Sheasel, a lot of good games. So Sheasel's a chance to poll in more games, but I have Davies-Uniacke with 12 or 13 votes. So I reckon he'll poll probably 3 votes more than Sheasel. So I'm taking that. And then you're starting to get a bit more value. I mean, you can work with double figure odds, can't you? Now the big one for me is I think Horn Francis because Curnow $1.90, Davies-Uniacke $2. We need something of an outsider, and I think Horn Francis is it. Now, if I had to put my house on it, yeah, I'd go with Butters, but Horn Francis is a noted poller. Butters deserves to be favourite. But I've got Butters polling 19 votes, round 10 and round 18. Very, very interesting to see which way the votes go, particularly round 10. It's very interesting against Hawthorn. And then I've got Horn Francis down at 18. So I've got Butters winning in my account, but there's just a couple of games when I was doing this. There was just a couple when I was like, that one could be a 2. And I sort of awarded Butters... Like in round 18, I gave him a 1, but it could be a 0. And in round 10, I gave him a 1, but it could be a 0. So I just think at $4.50, and I think it was $5.50 a week ago, I think it's worth a shout. It's worth a look. If you're looking for something, you want a bit of value, I think that's probably your play. Before we wind this one up, because I'm mindful of time, I do want to get this one out to give you guys a little bit of time to work with. I will touch on Richmond's, where there is actually... I mean, it's a bit of a throw the blanket over a lot of them, but there could be some value in there. Give me 1 sec. So Richmond's very, very difficult. I mean, I think Rioli, clearly is the one. Well, not even clearly. He's the one that takes the favouritism. Now, I went through Richmond's, and I've given Rioli 4 votes. He's best on ground in round 22, 36 touches, but Rowan Marshall could potentially get the 3. So if let's just say Rioli only gets 2 there, and then I reckon he polls 1 vote in round 24, he's a chance in round 19, probably up against Dixon. Let's just say Rioli gets 3 or 4 votes. Now $3.75, you might have a go at it. A few predictors had Taranto ahead I've had Taranto for just polling in one game, and that's just getting 2 votes. So it's a no for me. Bolton, 3 votes. Baker was about 2. Nick Vlaston at $10. I think it's just worth throwing in the occasional one. Don't go sprinkling him in all over the place. Like, he's not one to put in everywhere. But at $10 in round 1, that's if you go with Vlaston, round 1's where you got to prick your ears up. I reckon Cripps gets 3, and then I reckon the 2 and the 1 is out of McGovern, Mackay, and Vlaston. Now, if Vlaston can get 2, I reckon he is most definitely best on ground in round 3. That was when the Tigers won. They beat Sydney. How did they do that? I don't know. But he's best on ground. So I reckon he's locked for 3 votes. Even if he polls 1 in round 1, that's 4 votes. And as long as Rioli doesn't get 5, you'll still split that win. So I'm pretty sure in essence that would be like getting Vlaston at $5. His odds would be split if he shares the votes, the vote lead. Now, if Vlaston can poll 2 in round 1 and poll 5 overall, honestly, it's possible. There's nowhere else in the market that a $10 one's possible, in my opinion. But yeah, Crisp and Dacos, I had them 6 votes each. Very hard to split. Gorn I had on 14. Petrarca 10, maybe 11. And then, Nick Martin makes me a little nervous. I love him, but he hasn't really polled much before, I don't think. So I haven't double-checked that. But yeah, you could definitely throw Anderson in. You could definitely throw a few guys around. You could throw Heaney in if you want. You could throw Goulden in if you want every now and then. But I'm probably, just going to spread it around with taking the odd one out of my core votes and adding in some of those value picks. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Would love to hear your thoughts on how you're shaping up. But as you can see, we got a lot of bets there. Hopefully a bit of a return on that investment. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.